Hi, friends. This week we are winding down November and December starts before we know it. This episode is a special one. My friend Amy from Australia hosted us all on her podcast, The Abundance Club, last summer after we had all attended a Cathy Heller retreat in LA last spring. So, this is a podcast reflecting on that retreat and the things we have learned and the wisdom we want to share with whoever wants to listen. I always think it's important to re-air episodes on other podcasts because everyone has a different audience, and if the message is good, it's worth sharing like this one. This episode is a powerful one. I hope you feel loved, encouraged, and inspired to go dream bigger dreams and live a life that you truly desire, and remember, anything is possible. If you are feeling the pull to have more community and depths in your relationships, this community is amazing. And I put the link in the show notes for you to check it out. I always remind myself the money is going to be spent anyways. I might as well invest in myself and my own personal growth. It's with Cathy Heller and This Abundant Life. So check out the link in the show notes, and if you want to join. Okay, hope you enjoyed this episode. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hello and welcome. Holy moly, we are in for a treat today. I am joined with the most people that I've had in the Abundance Club so far. I'm joined with a divine group of women who are here to share and contribute their voice, their heart, their energy into what I'm calling this collective transmission. And this, as with most things with me, was something that was divinely led. This actually came to me in a meditation a couple of weeks ago about holding space for more of a collective conversation here on the podcast. So here we are, and I have learned only to say yes to those kind of divine nudges and downloads and visions. And really, these women are a part of that today because I did even see all of the faces of everyone that I was meant to call into this conversation. So I feel like it is one that is going to deeply inspire you. I think, when we weave together all of the individual threads of soul wisdom and embodied frequency and lived experience from conscious women, we create this tapestry of wisdom and possibility, and one that expands what we believe is possible for ourselves, the way that we live, lead, the way that we receive. And I think that, one of the most powerful things that we can remember when we're on this journey of soul-led evolution, let's say, is that we're not alone. And I think it's really easy to forget that, especially if you're an entrepreneur building a business, or even if you're just navigating a life path that feels a little different, like maybe you're coloring outside of the lines like I like to. But no matter where you are at in your life, I think that community is everything. Sisterhood with like-minded women where you can share your truth, your feelings, your challenges, and be held and witnessed and received, is such a gift. And these women joining me today are women that I've had the absolute joy of connecting with more recently on a retreat in LA, and since then through just a beautiful unfolding of connection and conversation, which is just a real gift, particularly when we're all on similar paths and journeys. And each one of them, I think, brings something really powerful to share. Wisdom that's born from the work that they do, from their own conscious evolution, lived experience, lessons and fire that they've walked through, and from courageously creating lives and businesses that feel really good on the inside, which I think is so important, whilst of course moving through the inevitable doubt and challenges and resistance that we bump up against along the way. So this is abundance reimagined, because we're not here to follow outdated rules around what success or abundance should look like. We're here to create new paradigms, ones that are soul aligned, deeply nourishing, and reflective of who we truly are. So I'm going to start by just letting you know who I have in the club today. We've got Erin Wallen. Erin is a pharmacist turned advanced certified nervous system coach and a manifestation mentor who helps high achieving women turn stress into success by aligning their energy with their desires. And I had the absolute pleasure of having Erin on the podcast a few episodes back. I think it was around episode 59. You can go back and listen to that. And it was just an absolute joy. So I can't wait to hear from her again. Lauren Stockpole is a family nurse practitioner specializing in guiding patients and families with complex medical needs through the healthcare system, coordinating care and promoting holistic wellness. Lauren is also a coach who supports women to reduce burnout and improve their overall health and quality of life through lifestyle focused support. And then we've got Angie Bailey is a 32-year retired OR nurse who has traded, I love this, her scrubs for script and now guides women to peace, presence, and playful creativity through calligraphy. I'm so excited to share. Oh my gosh. Shabana Knight blends over a decade of fitness experience with life coaching and holistic wellness to help women align mind, body, and soul, guiding full spectrum transformation. Shabana supports women in balancing their hormones and releasing weight naturally using homeopathic drops, while also guiding them towards lasting lifestyle changes. She's also a wife, mother of three, and an adoptee from India whose life journey has fueled her passion for empowering others. Christine Macario, sorry, is a soul-centered coach and host of Aligned and Abundant podcast, drawing on 19 years of experience as an educator to deeply connect with and uplift others. Through soulful coaching, self-paced courses, and healing retreats, Christine creates safe, empowering spaces for real growth, alignment, and lasting change. So beautiful. Katja Haydock is a mastery method coach, human design guide, and podcast host of If I Had Just Learned This. She supports women in reclaiming who they are designed to be, embody their full potential, and come home to their radiant inner power. And then last but not least, beautiful Samantha Kaplan is a proficiently trained artist herself and has been on a mission to create a world where it's normal for artists to have seven-figure businesses. Her expertise has allowed her to sell her work from tens of thousands of dollars to be featured in newspapers, movies, and television shows, including Three Women on Showtime, assist artists in having $50,000 days, and watch clients of hers achieve five-figure methods successfully triple their prices in less than 30 days and create an entirely new level of clientele. And I've also had Samantha on the podcast as well, sharing all of her wisdom and expertise, which was amazing. All right, welcome, ladies. It is so fun to have you all here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see all their beautiful faces because they're all divine shining lights. Where do I want to start? Okay, Erin, I'm going to start with you because we have connected before. You help women move from high stress into high success, and your work is so beautifully grounded in nervous system regulation and in embodiment. So I want to know, what does living abundantly feel like for you in this current season that you're in, like both in your life and in your body? And how do you personally create the internal safety to hold and expand into more abundance?
Yes, I love that. I mean, I think so much of what I thought was abundance versus what I define it as now, it's the feeling, right? Like it's not the goals, the achievements come after the feeling. And when you start with the goals, the feelings usually don't come with it, right? Like we can achieve either way. Um, but now it's so interesting because not only can I feel first, I can have abundance now when I step into the feelings. When I do that, I just find the goals just magnetize so much quicker. And knowing the science behind it gets me so excited because I think that used to be a block where I was like, this sounds so woo. Like, yes, I get it. I see evidence of it. Like there's literally so much science. So what abundance feels like, it feels, however, the best feelings I think I'm going to feel when I achieve my biggest dreams and feeling them now. And that's available to me at every moment, which I love.
Is that something that you then practice regularly in your own? Because I love that you talk about like the feelings being magnetic. So how are you incorporating that into you? Like, do you have your own kind of daily practices and rituals that you support you in kind of expanding those feelings of abundance? And can you speak a little bit about, how you support women with that as well?
Yeah, so my work really, the heart of my work is nervous system regulation. And I really talk about different emotional states are accessible in different states of our nervous system. So that abundance, that joy that we want to feel, every feeling that we're thinking we're going to feel when we achieve those goals is available only in a regulated state. So my practices, I do a whole bunch of different things. The core of my work and what I teach clients is how we regulate. Because when we are regulated, we naturally are able to access those feelings. And then we can do things to, amp them up and turn them up. But it really comes down to starting with a regulated nervous system so we have the capacity to receive the feelings of abundance.
And what does that look like for you personally, or and the work that you're
Yeah.
supporting women with? Like, what kind of practices does that look like? Because I think it's so important. We speak so much about nervous system regulation and how important that is, and I completely agree with you. And that's what brings us into this embodied state where we can access those those feelings, those ideal feelings for the desired reality that we want to live. Can you speak a little bit about what that looks like, what that feels
Yeah.
like for people?
So for me, I think like one tip I just had a workshop earlier and I share off all the time is that tuning into your body. So many of us are living neck up, but our body can't lie. If we're holding tension in our body, it means that we're dysregulated. 80% of the people, women today, are dysregulated most of the time. So starting with the practice of tuning into your body, noticing where there's stress and tension, and just starting to relax it. Like that's just step one, of course, but that helps us get closer to regulation, to the abundance, all the feelings that we want to feel. Um, so I really look at it a couple ways. We start building up these practices. It's kind of like compound interest in the fact that like everything I teach people feels like such small progress forward, almost so small that you just want to quit because you're not seeing it fast enough. But it's one of those things like compound interest. If you keep up with it for about 6 months, you see this huge tipping point. I've seen it time and time again.
Mm.
So I always encourage people start the practice. Really, like, again, there might be different ways to access it, but if you're feeling abundance, you are tapping into regulation. I also help people figure out what it feels like for them to be regulated versus dysregulated. Like, we kind of understand, but it colors literally every aspect of our life, from our food choices to the clothes we want to wear to our tone of voice with our partners, kids, coworkers. So it's really getting so nuanced of like, what does it look like when I'm regulated so that when I catch the signs when I'm not, another thing is having tools to bring myself back. So one tool is again, checking with your body, relaxing your body, but there's so many different ones you can, build out a regulated toolbox.
So good. I love that. I love that. I want to come over to you, Angie, because I know you've had some kind of breakthroughs in your work and your business lately. Many women who are in business for themselves can feel like they're doing all of the things and wondering when they're going to start to see results. Now, I know that you've had some momentum more recently in your business. Can you share a little bit about that and any of the kind of, I guess, mindset shifts or practices that you really started to embody that you feel have led you into this kind of season of manifestation, let's say?
Sure. So I want to say that I am a retired RN since 2021. And at that point, it was like, I really want to pursue my dream of becoming an artist. So I started with calligraphy and then I began to teach it. And I was only making small increments of success in that path because I did not. Um, when I worked at the hospital, I could work for someone very easily. I would show up no matter what. But for some reason, I wasn't showing up for myself until I realized that these women were getting, that the women that I was teaching the calligraphy to, as a mindfulness practice, were getting so much from it as I had. And that's when I realized I need to start showing up for my people. But still, it was a very slow process. But this past fall, I finally, I don't know what it was in my brain, but it was kind of like, I'm just ready to claim this already. I was feeling lots of feelings of unworthiness for a long time, to be honest. That's what the issue was. And finally, in the fall time, it was like, I'm going all in 2025. And so in the fall time, I joined a coaching group, and um, and I just kind of opened myself up to this abundance. And I thought to myself, 2025, that's my year to receive. As a woman, as a caregiver, it was always give, give, give. And so I was ready to receive. And as soon as I opened myself up to it, it started pouring in, and I didn't have to try so hard. And people started approaching me to start teaching at big corporate events. So a woman reached out to me in November, and then I traveled to do a I did like a talk on calligraphy and meditation, and then an experiential workshop to follow. And I put it out there like a big number, and I thought, okay, I'm going to ask for this much money. And she turned around and said, absolutely, like, what else do you need? Can we help you with accommodation, a travel? And I thought, wow, that was easy. And after that happened in November, I thought, yeah, 2025 is my year. And I stayed open to things, and things continued to pour in. A woman from Calligraphy Crush magazine, the executive editor of the magazine, reached out to me to ask if I wanted to partner with her in something. And I said, absolutely. And when we met, I thought she's going to ask me to write something for the magazine. And she said, I'm thinking really big. And I thought to myself, what I'd like to do? I'd like to create a calligraphy as meditation day, and a global event to bring people together to help people who have a hard time meditating to actually sit down and just be creative and create together, because that's what helps slow me down. And she was thinking the exact same thing. So it was pretty cool how we were both on the same wavelength. And then she asked me if I would contribute to the magazine. And so I wrote up an article, I sent it to her that evening. And you probably heard this story. On that evening, I thought to myself, at the end of the month, I'm going to be going to a really big retreat. And at this retreat, same retreat that I met you at, the Bloom retreat, Cathy Heller's retreat, I thought to myself, what would Cathy Heller say about all this abundance that's coming in? She would say, yes, you deserve it, and ask the universe for more. So that evening, I did sort of a vision boarding. I went into my Canva account and I created a social media post that I still have not published, but it was a picture of me on the cover of the magazine, of this Calligraphy Crush magazine. And then when we were at the retreat, I received an email from this woman saying, can you send us a photo? Because we'd like to put you on the cover of me. And the magazine should be coming out in a few days. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, things have been opening up ever since I allowed myself to be open to receiving. I just claimed I want to receive, and it's finally starting to come in. And it's funny because I hear all these stories. I've heard all these stories, other women saying this, and yeah, but that can't happen for me, or that hasn't happened for me yet. But it was just needed to switch the mindset and say, that's going to happen for me. I don't know when, but I'm ready. Anytime.
Yeah.
And it finally came in.
And it's that power of certainty that you had there, right? I love what you said. I wrote down a few things. I mean, the claiming and receiving, I think, is just so powerful. And so much of the time, we're just not asking, right?
Yeah.
We can be hoping, but we're not going, you know what, I'm asking this and this is mine, and I'm reclaiming and I'm allowing myself to receive it. And I just think that there is so much power in that. But I can feel when you're speaking and the things that you're saying, it's like, oh, well, you had certainty. right? It's one thing to pray and to ask, but you had that certainty, and in that certainty, you became so magnetic.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, Lauren, go for it. You want to share
Yeah.
something with that?
I was just so moved listening to that, just tearing up hearing you talk, and especially the point when you made the decision, right? You opened yourself up and said, "Okay." I just almost imagine a visual of you just kind of setting the things down that you've been carrying and like opening your arms, like you're ready to just receive this beautiful hug, and how excited God, the universe is to just throw these blessings that they've just been
Yeah.
so ready to give you and you weren't ready to hold, and just it's like I could just feel the excitement of that God was just so happy you were finally ready to receive the gift that was just waiting. It's just so powerful.
Yeah, because like
Thank you.
God's spirit source needs us, right? Needs us to say yes to our assignment. As much as we feel like we need something, it works both ways. So it's
Yeah.
it's almost like the universe waiting for you to get to that point. Like you mentioned, Angie, overcoming the feeling of unworthiness, right? And particularly, I guess, coming from a career where you were giving a lot to others so freely, for you to then switch that dial into receivership, and it feels like you really backed yourself and stood behind yourself with that. It's like the universe was able to go, oh, finally, we've been waiting for this. Here you go.
Yeah, and I think a feeling of unworthiness as well as the want to control everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I still dip into that. The past few days have been, a little challenging, but as soon as I, what, take a deep breath and give it to God,
Yeah.
things get better. And, I'll be 58 this year. So I've been like this for, a long time, but I'm learning every day. And when I do open myself up and let go of that control, good things happen.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful and such a beautiful message and an inspiration. Sammy, you're nodding like you have built your own successful business from such a young age, really. You
Yeah.
specifically support women to scale theirs. And when I interviewed you on my podcast, you mentioned something about like the power of belief as well, like whether it's belief in
Yeah.
yourself or somebody else having that belief for you in really what's possible, that how much that can accelerate your progress
Yeah.
in business. Like, do you want to
Yeah.
expand on that or on anything that Angie said that you really related to?
Sure, yeah. I think, well, it's really everything because if we knew, it was so interesting because I mean, some of you guys know what's happened. Some of you didn't actually at that retreat on the first day. I had a really, really bad fall. And then the week I didn't think it was a big deal because I was just, aside from having a bruise, I was fine. And then I get back to New York and I was like, okay, this is serious and there's consequences that we have to deal with. So it's so funny because when I was doing that interview with you, Amy, I had like such bad brain fog and I was like, I hope what I'm saying makes sense at all. But yeah, but back to
Totally
what,
did.
yeah, I'm glad it did because I was not sure what I was speaking. But anyways, I think it really is everything. It's one thing that taught me because the past 2 months, it's really been within this past week, I'm like back to normal. But for 2 months, I had to just slow down and really like it was a huge shift. I really had to slow down, and all I really had to work with because my work ethic, I couldn't rely on my work ethic anymore. Because if I did, there were serious consequences. So I really had to like just all I had was my frequency, and that was it. And whatever little moments of bursts of energy, I had to do some work. And what you really could realize is just how much her ego runs the show and how much of our ego is just full of may I say shit? Or just things that or these stories or these things that have been passed down to us or just this stuff we carry that our egos are trying to do to keep us stuck where we are to keep us safe. And it became so clear and so evident when I just had to spend so much time with it and just be with it. And I think that's a big thing when you can realize just how much our ego holds us back. And then if we have people around us who don't believe us or support us, it just adds to the weight of the ego, which is already so loud.
Mm.
So I think when you could get to a place of like, I know myself, I know I could do this. Yeah, maybe I failed in the past, but I know there's also those times I've had those successes, right? I didn't think I could do something and then I did it. And then you find those people who could see that fire in you and they just kind of like amp it up and show you like no you do have the zip within you, and those moments when you doubt yourself they just remind you of who you are. I think that's so powerful because this game of business, it's not a game for the faint of heart. It has its challenges, even like the bigger you get, like the challenge is just bigger challenges with bigger consequences. And it's great. It's the greatest personal development test ever. But yeah, having that constant belief, even as you go up against greater challenges or you have setbacks and you have to come back from that, it's everything.
And also, I
Yeah.
guess, embracing those periods of surrender as well,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't force this. Like, what did that feel like for you? Because I know you're a real
Yeah.
go-getter as well. And
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, there was moments when it was great. It was one of those tricky things because it was like there were some days where it was just great because I just had to ease into like, okay, what do I love? I had to really rearrange a lot of things in my life because there was things I used to do all the time that I couldn't do anymore just for like health and safety reasons. So I really had to kind of like just kind of I was in the stance where some days I like was really just zoned back into what I love and just living from that space. And there's those moments where you're like you know there's a setback or you're having just an off day and that's hard. That's when you really have to deal with your ego even that much more because it's just that much louder and there's just that much more to deal with.
yeah. And so for you at the moment, what are you anchoring into in this season that you're in, whether that's in business and life? And I know, business
Yeah.
is a big part of what you're
Yeah.
what you're doing. Like, what are the practices that you feel like
Yeah.
you're needing to really embody and almost
Yeah.
double down on right now that feels really relevant for where you're at?
Yeah, I think right now, because this is kind of my second week, or I'm starting to enter my second week of like being back, and it's great in one respect. In another respect, my nervous system like keeps hitting capacity because it's like there's just so much to do, and just now the responsibility is back. Like for 2 months, I could kind of like dance a little bit with the responsibility. Now it's like, okay, no, it's back, and now we have all these things we have to deal with. So it's really easy for my nervous system to be like, go full force and then get into shock. So I feel like I'm in this balance of like, okay, we have all this stuff to do. We're stepping into a new level of responsibility. We're stepping into a new level of scaling, which is great. But how can we find the stance of expanding our capacity and not getting so stressed to the point where we freeze? Like just finding that dance of we could take on more and we could receive more and we could still enjoy life.
I think that's a dance that we are all
Yeah.
partaking in all of the time, right? And like
Yeah.
particularly if you're running your own business, I
Yeah.
think, but as well as that, just juggling all of the different responsibilities that we have. So it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful reminder. And, Erin, you were touching on that as well as like just body first, right? Like your body is the key. It's giving you signals, it's giving you messages. Come back home to yourself and listen and
Yeah.
pay attention
Yeah.
and look after yourself in that way. And particularly when, for you, Sammy, that was challenged for you physically. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, what are the other? I can't do all of the things. What
Yeah.
else is here for me? And you mentioned that about, like your frequency. What did that look
Yeah.
like for you? If you were prioritizing your frequency, what did that
Yeah.
look like for you?
It was a lot of, that's a really great question. So I even have to backtrack of like, what was that like? It was a lot of just being still and just realizing, like, really having to play with the dance of what's the ego story and what is actually real and which one am I choosing to, like, which one am I choosing in this moment? Which one am I choosing today?
Mm.
And constantly having to re-anchor and make that decision. And the beautiful thing was, I remember during that moment, like when I was in that, eventually my body just like let go. And I was like, okay, we could actually, instead of playing the game of like work hard and then play with a little bit with our frequency, it's like, okay, this is all we have. So we're just going to choose to play with our frequency and our body could just let go. And we could just be in this dance of life and just having fun with whatever the universe gives us when we're a match to what it is we ask for. So it was a fun game. And it was one of those things where like, yeah, we have this challenge and the setback, but we could also realize like, okay, I can't physically do everything I did before because it's just there's a consequence if I do. So let me just tune into what it is that I want. Let me double down on that and let me see what comes into my lap. And that was really cool to actually see the different things that do come into my lap that I
Mm.
would have never thought. I could have never planned that. And that was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Trusting the season that you're in, right? Like even if
Yeah.
that season is a week or is a month, like trusting
Yeah.
that it's all for a purpose, it's all serving a purpose.
Yeah.
And if you can get quiet enough, you can
Yeah.
pay attention, listen to what that is, like listen to what the universe is trying to tell you. I love that. I'm
Yeah.
going to
And
come down to
yeah.
Shabana. Oh, beautiful Shabana. You inspire me so much. And like you embody this courage, this light, and this wisdom that you share so generously with those around you. And like I've got to say, your adoption story touched the hearts of all of us on retreat and the transformative path that you've walked really shines through in just in you and in the work that you do. I want to ask you, what would you, if there was something that you could say to an earlier version of yourself, like let's say to the Shavana who might have questioned her worth as many of us do as women, or who felt like, you know, she needed to please others, like, and we've all, you know, a lot of us are recovering people pleasers, or looked out of herself, you know, look outside for approval. Like, what would you say now to that version of you?
Oh my gosh, I probably could say so much, but just that, like, you're gonna make it and it's all gonna be okay. And to just continuing to trust the process and trust yourself and like know like where your boundaries are, where what feels right, what doesn't feel right, the environment you're in, just all of that. And just know that like no matter what life throws at you or to you or whatever, like you have the choice to rise above it and everything. You have choice. I feel a lot of times growing up, I felt like I didn't have a choice. And then I finally got like, I don't know, older, wiser, smarter. And I realized that I have choices, even just like when we're like listening to the radio station, I'm like, wait, I don't like this song. Like I can change this or on Spotify or whatever. But um just that I'm gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. And just the more I spend time alone and also with like people like you guys who are like-minded, who have vision, the more that I'm just going to bloom and become what I'm supposed to do and the people I'm supposed to help. It all works out. Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you have been on a profound journey, and I do see you as someone who has a lot of courage. And like, I would love to know what do you feel are those major obstacles that you have had to overcome that's brought you to this place where you are really trusting in yourself and in the wisdom that's coming through your own intuition, your own inner compass to make the choices that are right for you. Because you've got quite a, I mean, and you can share a little bit about how you got here as well, if you
Yeah.
want to.
I guess the backstory that you guys all know is like I was left at a train station at a really young age with my brother, and then a police officer found us, and then we were placed in an orphanage, and then eventually we get adopted out. We grew up on the East Coast, very loving family and stuff, but I just can you repeat your question?
Just what you've overcome, like what you've had to overcome
Oh,
within
okay.
yourself that's really helped to amplify your courage and your the way that you tap into your wisdom.
I think a lot of overcoming is that I grew up in a very white neighborhood and looked like the oddball out. And there's so much of me that just wanted to just feel like I belong and I was accepted. And I've overcome lots of like abandonment issues and just learning to love myself and who I am and call myself beautiful. That's been a lot of my healing journey to see that I am unique and beautiful and different and there's nothing wrong with that. And for so long I felt like kind of like the ugly duckling and like the different one and the outcast and stuff like that. Um and a lot of it also just comes with like taking the time to spend time with myself and going back to like my meditation practice of like journaling or walking and things like that and realizing like I have so much to offer to the world and to the people I come across and like just to like let that love and light just shine wherever I go and help just people to feel that and accept yourself who you are and like your uniqueness is amazing.
That's so beautiful. And this is a big part of what you support other women to remember and reclaim, isn't it, in the work that you do? Like what are you most hoping women to remember about themselves, about who they are?
That you need to take care of yourself, especially as a mom. I have, like I earlier said, like I have 3 kids and I'm married and there's all these things pulling at me, but it's like, no, like you have to go back to yourself and take that time to nourish your own self and your own soul and have the importance of like women friendships and stuff like that and community and just take care of yourself. And I know that sounds so easy, but it's so hard with like sleep and hydration and all the things and exercising. So I just want women and moms to feel they're a person too and they have needs and they can take care of their needs. And it's not selfish to self care practices and all those things.
Yeah. I mean, we hear this so much, but yet we I feel like we need to be reminded about this all the time. And I know so many of you are sitting there like nodding your heads and just going like, yeah, I'm on this journey. Like, and a lot of the times it's easier said than done. And where do I even begin and how to prioritize myself? Like, who else is kind of having that challenge in what they're navigating at the moment and just balancing between all of the different things and going like, how do I make myself a sacred priority in all this when I know that that's what I'm here to do, right? Like in letting myself receive is the way that I am able to give and do my work and, and support others. So I think that that's such a powerful remembrance. What about you, Lauren? Like you're a coach as well as being a mama, and you also do incredible work as a nurse practitioner. So I feel like you live and you lead in lots of powerful places and spaces. What for you, if you could say, speak to the hearts of women listening today, or place your hands on the hearts of women listening today? And I say that because I see you as this healer, like this earth angel. Like, let's be honest, you're an earth angel. What do you wish that they would know or that they would remember, let's say, like about their worthiness, about their inherent worthiness?
Oh, that's so deep. I feel like I can feel them. And yeah, just that they are so beautiful and so loved just as they are. And I think a lot of us as women and mothers, you feel like sometimes you lose yourself and you have to kind of learn to come home to who you are and remember that you are enough. And it can help, I think, when you're raising children, you hold this baby in your arms and there is no question of their worth. There is no question of their beauty and their perfection and the amount of love they deserve and the well wishes. Like all of us, it's so easy to see in other people, right? I can look at each of one of you and just see the beauty and the magic and the talent. It's so amazing. But I want each of you and everyone listening to take a step back and have that third person view of yourself for a minute. And it can help to imagine, 4-year-old you or toddler you or 10-year-old or 15-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever age you need to heal. And just think of this girl as the baby that came into the world and the people that prayed for her and the people that brought her up and the people that invested in you and all of the people that cheered you on and wished you well and were part of molding you, the magic that they saw in you. And just remember how much you have to offer and how perfect you are just as you are.
That's so beautiful. What a gift. Like what a gift for the people that work with you, Lauren. Like the your patients, your clients, like what do you really feel? And this is just coming through as something that I really want to channel through. What do you really feel that you are here? And this is a big question to transmit in the work that you're doing, just in being here on this earth.
That is a big question.
A really big question.
I feel like with patients in their families, I am here to hold space and remind them that they're a whole human, not just a list of diagnosis and medication and all of the things we get wrapped up in the medical world, and just reminding them that their quality of life is important and the things that they enjoy are important and the people they love are important, and just making it really holistic. And the women that I coach and work with outside of the medical world, I feel like the mission there is just to ignite the magic in people and remind them that they can shine bright and they can be unique and they can chase the dreams in their heart. Seeing people light up is really, really amazing.
So beautiful and so powerful to have a guide or a coach that like as you'd said, Sammy, about someone that believes in you. It's someone that can remind you of all of those things, right? Like you just gifting that to us and to everyone that's listening. It's just like a reminder that you are whole and you are worthy and you are magic. And what that just does instantly in receiving that, like it gives each of us an upgrade, right? It's just so beautiful. Thank you for sharing your magic, and it's so needed and it's so well received.
Thank you.
I'm going to come down to you, Katya. You're like just there. You recently launched your podcast. If I just learned this, which I had the pleasure of being interviewed on a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and you've been on this personal development path for a while now. So what are you learning about yourself on this journey? Like maybe even more recently around taking leaps into unknown territory and in your business and in launching your podcast. Like what have you had to overcome on the way? Or what are you kind of still navigating as you enter this kind of new season of abundance?
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having all of us on here. And as all of you were speaking, I've gotten so many chills because it's so beautiful to be in a space where people can be open and have these real conversations. And such a gift it is for those who are listening, because this is really so potent truth to take with you and to recognize you are not alone. So thank you for this space. Man, I've had to overcome a lot of things that we've already shared, but my big stories were always never feeling enough or not feeling worthy of receiving. And so I've had to really become a vessel for what I want to receive into my life, to feel good enough, to feel like it's not just for somebody else, but it's for me to claim, for me to own, for me to desire. But I will say the one thing I've always kind of had is a fighting energy. And I'm not going to give up.
Who else can relate to this like fighting energy? It's like how many times come back to Katya because she is a mama as well, like many of us are, and this is all part of it. But who else can speak to that like feeling like this is hard, I want to throw in the towel, like honestly this isn't working, I'm going to give up on this dream, but we keep going, like, you know, and sometimes that's the hardest thing is just putting your feet on the ground and showing up again. Are we back here with you, hun?
Yeah, sorry.
No.
When you have two little ones, it's just navigating. And I think grace is a big component, is having grace for the seasons that you're in and accepting without being in complete resistance. But I think, you know, in the season that I've been in, I have this drive, I have this fire, and amidst the challenges, amidst like the struggles and the beliefs that I've carried, I've always known that the version of me that's out there, my highest self, is available. And it is down to a choice. What are my choices and what am I choosing? And if I really want to receive the abundance, to have the life of my dreams, I have to make the choice to set down the version of myself who doesn't believe it's enough or doesn't believe it's possible or thinks it's for somebody else. Because even when those beliefs are so deep and they run so long and you've had them and you've carried them, it still comes down to a choice where every morning it's like, who is the version that I want to be? What is the life that I want to live? Who is like the inspiration that I want to shine? And that person, I have to be able to set down the beliefs and the identities and the weight and the emotional stories that I've carried in order to step forward. And that's what, there's a quote, and it's like, becoming who you are is truly the path of unbecoming, of setting down all the versions of you that you thought. Because, like Lauren said, as a child, they are the most purest version. They know nothing of limitation or lack or separation. And that was all of us at one point. And somewhere along the lines, we bought into stories of who we are, what we're capable, what we can achieve. And that never was ours to begin with. And the more that we can continue to unbecome the identity, the ego version of who we think we are, we become more in alignment with the truth of who we've always been. And so I think for me, any new venture that I've had, it's, am I willing to be uncomfortable, to step into the version of truth that's here, but I have to set down the ego. I have to set down the story. I have to set down the limitation. And is that comfortable all the time? Is that always easy? No. But I choose to have that desire, I have that life that I dream of, and it's not just going to be handed to me on a silver platter. I got to go for it. And it's not always going to be pretty, but I'm choosing the version of myself that wants that, and that's expansive and that's big. And honestly, the most uncomfortable part is setting down the limitations, because that, from our nervous system perspective, it feels safe. It's so familiar. But I didn't come here to feel safe and familiar. I came here to be expansive and massive and big. And that is a choice that you have to continue to wake up and choose. And it's available to everybody.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. So many truth bombs, right? Like this power of choice. It's kind of like when Angie was talking about like the claiming and the receiving, and you can feel that in your energy, right? Like when you're listening, you can feel that you are like, yeah, this is what I'm choosing. It is really easy to go back into what's familiar and what's comfortable, right? And to the limitation, to the ego that keeps pulling our hand and saying, come back this way. And it gets really unsafe for you to launch that podcast and for you to put yourself out there and let yourself be visible. And I loved what you said, Katya, about like, there is a higher self here that's guiding me, and I'm choosing to align with that over the voices of limitation, even when it feels really uncomfortable and scary for some people as well. So I just think that's so empowering.
I think the thing too is when you can surround yourself, because sometimes, when I look back where I was, the people that I was with, it was people in the same identity, right? Like you kind of mirror and match the same group.
Yeah.
And when you are wanting to step out, you're going to need to find a group that's going to hold that expansion, that's going to show you what's possible. Because even if you don't see it yet, they are showing you what's possible, and they're going to hold that version of you. Because when you are making the changes, or when you're upgrading your whole beliefs, patterns, and behaviors, it's going to be easy to fall back. And when people can hold you in that space of like, I want to go back, I want to go to the familiar, I want to go to the safety, they're like, no, 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 I see, and I'm going to remind you of who you are before the ego tells you who you're not.
Yeah. And what does that look like for you in your practices, like in your daily practice, this kind of letting yourself be reminded? Because for me, and I know women that I work with, it's a constant reminder, right? It's a daily reminder, or it's a number of times a day. And I know that we're all experiencing that ourselves. What does it look like for you, Katya?
I'm one of those people that I have to do this countless times. And even today, it's like when I feel like, where am I going? Is this happening? Am I enough? Like, do I have enough? It's a constant just watching of the ego and saying, I see you and I choose not to buy into you. And I know where that goes. I know where the story goes. It's going to keep me small. It's going to keep me stuck. It's going to keep me in the version of myself that I'm already at. I know this version. Is there anything wrong with it? No. Is it where I want to be ultimately? No. So I have to set you down. I have to love you. I can see and hold you, and with so much compassion for what you want me to feel, that safety, but it's not where I want to be. So I'm going to set you down, and I'm going to reclaim the driver's seat and take over my life, because I get to make the decisions. And if I let that version run the show, I'm not going to go where I want to go.
Yeah, you'll stay looping in those same experiences and patterns. Who else can relate to this? Does anyone else want to share on this thread? Yeah, Sammy.
Yeah, one thing I just want to add, yeah, everything you're saying, Katya, is so beautiful and it's so true. And one thing to just note is like you make this choice in like a millisecond. And like we don't realize like this decision's literally made in a millisecond that could determine like the next hour, the next just day, what the next day is gonna be like. And one thing that's so important to realize, the ego is so freaking loud. And the voice of wisdom is so quiet. So it's just realizing what you're dealing with here and why it's so important to find those moments of finding that moment, like being able to get quiet, to actually learn what it means to be relaxed, which I know is something I've really had to learn how to do, and I'm still learning, to really find the moments of wisdom that actually reveals what truth is when the ego is just trying to pull you back into the old story, because that's what it's designed to do.
Mm-hmm. So beautiful. Yeah, Lauren.
I know Katya and I have talked about mindset work a lot. I think a lot of us here coach with mindset work, obviously, but just being the observer of the thoughts is so important, to realize we are not the thought itself. and that we do, just reminding ourselves that we do have the choice to believe it or not. So even if you're making that choice in a second and your subconscious is choosing something, to observe, okay, wait a second, I'm thinking these things that are causing anxiety or stress or whatever. Do I want to stay here? And just becoming that observer to take a step back and choose differently.
Yeah. That power again, the power of choosing, right? In any moment we get to decide. We're not a victim of it. We get to choose. Christine, I know you love this conversation about abundance and alignment. So can you share on how you're personally redefining what abundance means to you in your life right now, and what's shifted most powerfully in you, like in how you think about abundance, how you embody it, how you call it in? Where are you at with that?
So I used to think that abundance just meant like being rich and having money, and with money comes freedom. You could do whatever you want it to do. But as I've learned, it's more about how you feel and the energy and the frequency that you put out. You don't have to necessarily have a lot of money in order to bring joy and ease and stress-free days into your life. And so I have been working a lot on releasing limiting beliefs and thinking from the mindset of the woman that I know, like Katya said, is in me, my future self, the person that I can match frequency with in order to become the highest version of myself. And to me now, it looks like having opportunities come on my path, like they are for Angie, where they are just presenting themselves because I have changed my frequency. I am practicing gratitude on a more regular basis, where I've always woken up and started my day with gratitude, but now I'm leaning more into the feelings of it. And I feel like the more expansive that I become, the more that I release things that have been holding me back, whether it's limiting beliefs or relationships that were no longer serving me. It all just seems to be naturally falling to the wayside. And some things that I've learned are friendships come and go for seasons, reasons, or experiences, knowledge. So surrounding myself with like-minded people, I think, has been one of the biggest shifts. Like Lauren was saying, you can easily look into any of our eyes and see all of the beauty and the possibilities in each of us, and to hold the light and to hold the mirror so that you can see it back in yourself, I think has been also one of the most critical things that I have also shifted. I've always been a teacher at heart. So I taught middle school English for 19 years. And so I have the capabilities to communicate with others. And I think now I'm shifting more into helping women in particular see the beauty within themselves. And of course, I do all of that with working with my spirit team. I do believe in the angels, so I ask different angels for different things, and I just listen to the whispers of the universe that come through to me. And then I just take aligned steps, and I will literally ask myself, what is my aligned step for today? Because if I sit down and logically try to figure things out, I can get overwhelmed and stressed, and I no longer want to live a life like that. I used to call my life like living on a hamster wheel. I would get up, go, 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 do the same thing, drop the kids off at school, go teach, drive home. Usually had an hour commute in most of my school districts that I worked in. And I would come home and just be totally fried, and I wouldn't have the energy to care for my own family. I would have to like self medicate with junk TV and, just kind of like zoning out. So I have put all of that aside finally, despite the pressures that other people put on you, the expectations that your family may have on you. Well, who are you? I don't recognize you anymore. But at the end of the day, I know someone here mentioned it, like, you are the only person who has you in this life. You can have the best loving, caring spouse, the most adorable, supportive children, but at the end of the day, you're the only one that really truly has your own back. And there's nothing wrong with that, because like fingerprints, we're each individual souls here with a purpose, and our job is to figure that out in one way, shape, or form.
And so I've just been leaning into the whispers and saying yes to opportunities that are coming my way. And I also just have the belief that it is going to work out. I'm no longer trying to figure out the hows. I'm just giving my order to the universe and then just waiting for the waitress to bring it over. And I believe that it will show up one way or another. And I'm just leaning into that. So, you know, and on another note, I did have the pleasure of meeting all of you at the retreat that we went to together. And just the beauty that I see in each of you is just truly inspiring. And I know that no matter what we do, we all have an important message and voice. And Amy is a wonderful host for allowing us this platform to share what we have to give to the world, because everyone that listens and truly listens with their heart is going to walk away with something. And it's truly inspirational for women in particular to support one another.
So beautiful. I mean, so many beautiful truths there that you brought through, that you channeled through, Christine, so beautifully. You know, you spoke about when we prioritize our own frequency, what we then experience, like the shifts that we then experience as a result of that, you know, the maybe the things that do fall away, right? The friendships that might fall away, or the misaligned opportunities, right? Or roles, or whatever it is. And I think it's really important to speak to that as well, because that can feel really scary for people as they are evolving to, and as Cathy said, you know, as shifting that old identity, because there is a lot that is attached that's resonating around the field of that old identity. And when we kind of jump timelines, and that's essentially what all of us are talking about, whether we're talking about it from a perspective of, like Angie said, like that claiming that, or whether Cathy said about like aligning with that higher self, or Christine, when you spoke about that as well, and there's this power of choice. We are choosing a new reality for ourselves, and with that new reality, we are going to experience life in a whole new way, the opportunities, the people, the friendships. So I think, as you said so beautifully as well, like being around and surrounding yourself with other people and women who inspire you, who support you, who see you, and also those who expand you, have come before you. And like, that's so powerful. Does anyone want to speak to that, that feels that this is really alive in them as well, or has been in their experience? Yeah.
I do. Okay, Shabana here. So I met Christine at the retreat, and then we didn't really connect. We are just kind of like hi or whatever. And then after the retreat, she just kept showing up on like my socials or whatever. I was like, I'm just gonna reach out to her and maybe she'll wants to be my friend, kind of thing. And so we became friends, and so now we're like accountability partners, and we talk every week, and we work on our business and different things. And like the crazy part is, so we both have 3 kids, and our oldest kid has the same name. Our middle kid has the same name, and our youngest child, who's a girl, is both named after a flower. And like, there's so many synchronicities in our relationships, and it's amazing. And I know I've talked to most of you, whether it's like DMs or actually on the phone. Lauren is awesome. Like, I love the relationships and community and all the blessings that come when we choose ourselves, and we also listen to those internal nudges to, will you be my friend? And then magic just happens. Like, it's so wild, and I just had to share that. So.
Yeah. Magic happens
Yeah,
when we choose ourselves. Go, Christine.
To piggyback off of that, it takes courage. If there is someone out there who you want to have a conversation with, then just go for it. And it's really a beautiful thing. And I have to thank Shabana, because I oftentimes overthink things. And then she's like, well, why don't you just do it this way? And I'm like, yeah, why don't I? Because that makes so much more sense. It's so much less stress and it's so much less pressure. And so it's really important, I think, to make sure that you take the chances and take the risk and make the connections, because it really is truly empowering to have someone who is supportive on your team. And so in recently launching my own business and whatnot, Aligned and Abundant, I do workshops, and both online and in person. And I was talking to someone at one point, someone from like the circle of ladies, and I was just expressing that I was disappointed that my friends weren't more or less supporting me in the way that I thought they would, as far as like coming to all of my workshops and whatnot. And someone had said to me, they're like, your friends aren't going to be your clients. And so that was a shift for me, because I'm like, if they love me so much, they're going to pay to come to my classes. And so that was like a hard pill for me to swallow, that might not necessarily be true. And that does not define my worth and what I am offering to the people of the world. It is the belief that I'm going to attract like-minded people on my same energy frequency, and I will call in my people. And so it's just been evidenced and supported by the universe, I think, because I have been given a few opportunities that I would have never seen coming that have just showed up on my door. And I'm just like, wow, yes, definitely.
It's so great, isn't it? It's just such beautiful reminders. And let this be reminders to everyone that's listening, you know, like all of these women have taken leaps and have put themselves out there and have had to overcome obstacles. And if we can all do it, you can do it. So if you're sitting there and there is a dream in your heart and you are feeling like there's something that you would like to do or offer or serve in a particular way, that knowing that if you have that, your clients are already here, that like they're already ready, the people that are here to receive from you. It's like the answer comes before the question. Like they are already here. It's just your duty, your divine responsibility to say yes, right? To hear the whispers and to say yes. Yeah. Who was
And
on
I
a
think
different?
also the universe will continue to conspire against you. For instance, I was getting comfy in my last position again. And what I mean is, I was completely miserable, bored out of my mind. But I was like, I could just sit here and continue doing this. And the rug was ripped out from under my feet in a horrible way. And I was just like, okay, I hear you, universe. I will close that door. And so, yeah, it was a lot of work shedding that old identity. And there are definitely still things that I'm working on, but in the most beautiful way. Like I mentioned before, so many doors have been opening that I can now just easily walk through instead of just sitting and hoping and dreaming and wishing for a different life. I am now the co-creator of the next chapter of my life. And I think that we all have showcased that it's possible when you're ready to say yes to yourself.
Amen. Amen. All right, we're going to start to wrap it up, but what I want to finish with from each of you is just one thing. If you could leave the women listening today, or the men, there might be men listening as well. I know there are men that listen to this podcast as well. Welcome. If you could leave the people listening to this podcast with one piece of wisdom, one succinct piece of wisdom, or one frequency, or one reminder, or maybe it's a mantra that works for you, just about redefining and living abundance, what would that be? Okay, Christine, we'll start with you, and then we'll go Angie.
I just want to share that it's never too late to start a new chapter of your life. In reading and listening to podcasts and learning about all different people at all different ages, I just don't think it's ever too late to do something different, to be someone different, to step into the highest version of yourself, because I think life is also a test. It's important that you become the best version of yourself, and that's really through love and trust. And so I would encourage everyone to just believe in themselves.
Beautiful. Thank you. Angie, what did you want to share?
Okay, so Christine, everything that you have said for the past couple of minutes, I was thinking and it came out of your mouth. So as soon as Amy said, do you have some wisdom to share? That's exactly what I was going to say. It's never too late. And I like to say it's never too late to create the life that you've always wanted. And yeah, as a almost 58-year-old, I'm living proof of that. And I just think that we shouldn't be afraid of going after the life that we want. And I am so blessed to have met all of you incredible women. And thank you so much, Amy, for having me on.
So beautiful. I love how you said that you were both, like you were going to say what Christine was. It's like, we are all in this live channel together. This is a living transmission. So we are all here in this collective field, which is so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Erin, what about you?
This has been such a gift. Like, thank you. Thank you for coordinating this and for me being able to hear from all of you. And there's just been this quote has kept dropping into my mind throughout this conversation. Like I think it came up when Katya was talking about the ego and how we have to constantly choose, choose the life that we do want. And when Christine was talking about with her career, how like, she was comfortable. And I don't know the exact quote or who it's by, but it's something about how we will always choose an unfamiliar hell, or we will always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. So I think when it comes to scarcity versus abundance, stress versus ease, like these expansive versus limiting beliefs, just knowing like we will always go to where we have gone. It does take that choice to shift. So just really that quote, look it up, get the exact words and who actually said it, but it's so powerful, and it's just something that kept coming up in my mind through the conversation today.
Beautiful. That's really supported me as well. And then, you get to then consciously choose. So great. What about you, Shabana?
Yes. I think it just comes down to like every day, every moment, like we all have a choice and what are we choosing into? And I do a lot of work with people like in their homes with like organizing and decluttering, but also in like personal training and also in life coaching. So all the things, it's like, how can we declutter our thoughts, our minds, our mentalities, our households, to feel more peace and ease and abundance? So just reminding ourselves like we're at choice and we're adults, and you can choose yourself, and you can also choose to rest when you need to rest. So just to love yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you. What about you, Samantha?
Going off what everyone was saying, what I was going to say is really everything really is a choice. And it comes to the smallest things and the biggest things. Like it's a choice to choose what frequency am I going to be on today. It's a choice to decide, like, okay, I want to take care of myself today. I want to do something that's going to bring, like, take care of my body, take care of my well-being. I'm going to schedule that into my calendar today. It's a choice to decide that you're going to go and expand your business, and you're going to reach out to that person that you're scared to reach out to because maybe they're so much further along than you are, or you're going to show up on social media and maybe in a way that you haven't done before because it's scary and you're like, who am I to do this? But it's always a choice. And then when you could realize that just you're a decision away from the life that you want in every single way, when you could constantly recognize that and just choose that, you take your power back. So yeah.
So true. Oh, so
Yeah.
true. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sammy. So great. And Lauren, what about you? Anything you want to leave them with?
Just that any dream you have is there on purpose, and you can trust yourself, and the importance of surrounding yourself by people who are either chasing dreams or are a little bit farther along on the journey than you are. And I feel like I just feel so blessed to be part of this conversation and to have met you guys in person. And I know, Amy, when I was around you for the first time, I was just so impressed with your maturity and wisdom, just packaged into this small, young, beautiful woman. It was just, you are such a gift to this world. And when I came home, I downloaded your podcast and binged everything, and just have been, I continue to just be impressed with how wise of a soul you are and just the light that you shine. So thank you for being who you are, doing the work you do, and for hosting us here. This is truly a gift for each of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I want to say to that, I received that. I also want to say is that like attracts like, right? You're only seeing that and feeling that because you are that as well. So I think that's so beautiful. I have so loved this conversation. I think just having the collaboration of different voices and experiences, I just think is so, so, so powerful. So I hope those of you listening have received something. Please let us know. Feel free to share this episode with those that you think will get benefit of this, and let us know in the comments or reach out to us. I'm going to put the details in the show notes of everyone that you've heard from today, as well as their offerings, so you can go along and follow them on their different platforms and reach out to them as well. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight and a pleasure. You are all such beautiful, beautiful humans. Have the most incredible day. I love you all so much.
This podcast is sponsored by Happy Mail. I created Happy Mail for when you don't have the words, Happy Mail does. Happy Mail sends handwritten cards of encouragement that uplift, comfort, and reminds everyone they matter. Happy Mail is better than a McDonald's Happy Meal, spreading kindness, not calories. Click the link in the show notes and get your Happy Mail sent ASAP. Limited to U.S. residents only. Hey you, yes you. Thank you so much for listening to Organized Chaos, Stories with Shabana. If you love this episode as much as I did, hit that subscribe button, leave an outstanding review, and share it with a friend who needs some inspiration. Thank you for being part of this community. Remember, in every bit of chaos, there is always a story waiting to emerge. Who knows, maybe sharing your story might inspire others to share theirs. The possibilities are endless. Let's live in the possibilities.